Welcome, everyone, to episode 64 of the 5 Year Real Estate Career Podcast. My name is Skip Wiley, and today I'm here with my partner, knowledge broker, organized business partner, Patrick Butler, who is we affectionately call him a lot of things, but Patrick is a specialist in just about everything related to real estate. So,
Is that
Patrick,
possible to be a specialist in everything?
well, everything that matters. How about that? How about the three or four things that really matter in real estate? But on today's podcast, this is an overview. This is not a workshop on how to master AI, but today is an overview on what top producing agents know about AI that you don't know and why it's costing you thousands of dollars and lots of wasted time. So I want you to imagine a world where your CRM writes follow-up emails for you. You don't have to ask it, it just does it automatically. Your listing descriptions, which I've taken hours in the past to try to write the perfect listing description without the right commas in the right places. I'm not an English major. Your listing descriptions are created in seconds and they work. And your lead generation never, ever, ever sleeps. That's the world that's here. That's the world we're going to cover an overview today. And we're going to talk about three reasons that I think are critically important for you to master AI. And the first is time savings, but AI isn't going to replace real estate agents. It is going to replace real estate agents who don't use AI because you're going to pale in comparison to the creativity, the time savings, all of those things that are critically important for real estate agents to master. And so when you embrace AI, it's going to allow agents to stay ahead of the curve. Even if you just are with the curve, it's better than being behind the curve. And you're going to do that by automating what I call the most time consuming tasks. And those are tasks like lead follow up. I read an article not too long ago that said 80% of all leads generated are never followed up sufficiently by the agent who created the lead. Somebody follows up, just not that agent. And that's how AI can help you with quality follow up. Property valuations. You know, the systems out there are getting better and better and better about evaluating the real value of property. And finally, the key ingredient for all of us is client communication, speeding up the process, doing it better so that it frees up more time for you and me, guys like Patrick and I, and anybody who visits our podcast to build more relationships and work on revenue creating activities. The next thing that AI, an important point about it is your client, today's client in this real estate world, expects instant answers for everything. You know, if I have to wait more than 10 minutes for an answer, I'm impatient. So AI is going to give us an opportunity as you begin to learn it and use it. It'll help you with chatbots and CRM tools, and realtors will be able to give quick responses. I'm sure, Patrick, you've been on something recently where you talked to a chatbot, didn't talk to a human. Were you able to get an answer from it?
Yeah, in fact, we'll talk a little bit about that later, but the world has changed from the automated attendant that we would scream the word representative at 100 times to an actual interactive AI. And it's mind-boggling how efficient it has become and will probably continue to be. So exciting times.
Yeah, and what it's really going to do is it's going to help you create more leads and nurture those leads better and impress more clients, which I think is critically important in today's world. And AI is going to turn your data into dollars. I think one of the failures of most real estate agents, we're good with people, but we're not good with data. So as you use AI more and more efficiently, it's going to help you with buyer behavior, with lead quality, and also analyzing your local market.
Hmm.
So with that, I want you to imagine, if you can, building a business. That's what we're about. We're called the 5-year real estate career. Why are we called that? Because we believe any agent, like John, who happens to be on our call today, can build a real estate career on a solid basis that in 5 short years, they'll be able to have enough income coming in that'll pay them abundantly for the rest of their life. And not every company offers that opportunity, but here's what you must have to develop a 5-year career. First, you must develop direct income. That's what our call is about. Each and every call, we're here to help the people that are on our podcast learn how to create massive leads, because there's three things that you have to have in real estate to succeed. Number one is hard work. Number two is systems, and we talk about systems today and every time we're on a call. And three, and significantly important, the most important thing is those systems and that hard work must create quality leads. And that's what the 5-year career takes. And when you have those three ingredients, here's exactly what is going to happen. You're going to be able to develop direct income. That's helping a buyer, helping a seller, helping a tenant achieve their goal of doing something, buying, selling, or renting real estate. But the second thing, in order to develop a 5-year career, this is critically important. You must be able to build a team. Because you see, I can go to Europe for 6 months. My team is in San Antonio or in Fort Lauderdale or wherever that team happens to be, and they're producing transactions. They can call me, they can text me. AI will help me manage that team. But that indirect income is critically important. You know, over my long history in real estate and mortgage lending, that's the art that I possess, building large teams of 200 people, 1,000 people, and earning income off of that team when I was not working. The other thing that's a requirement, it's not really a requirement, but if you're smart, most people who build successful businesses get their big hit when they sell that company to somebody else. If it's a profitable company, you get to sell it and you get a big chunk of money for selling that. Well, if you don't have that, you need a company that will allow you to build the business inside their business, and also a company that offers stock ownership in that company. Better, public stock ownership. And if you're not with a company like that, find one. We're not going to talk about those companies today on the call. And then the last piece of building a 5-year career, and it is the most important piece, is at some stage in life, we all want to stop working. And if you can stop working and have what's called passive residual income, some people do it through rental, the acquisition of rental property. A little bit too much for me because I don't want to manage all those quality tenants that I've had over the years. But if you can get residual income from the company you work after you leave and even after you die, that is a true 5-year career. So welcome to our 5-year career podcast. We're a virtual seminar, and today we're a virtual overview of how to begin to learn more about using AI. But if you want more exciting information or more great ideas about how to build your own 5-year career, we encourage you to go to our YouTube channel, and that's the symbol at 5-year career, or go to our website, which is also pictured behind us on the screen, 5yearcareer.com. So as we begin today talking about AI, let me properly introduce my good partner, Mr. Go Vertical, Patrick Butler. Eric Wilner is not with us today. He's doing one of the most important things that all of us should do every single day, and that is learn more. He's up in Detroit, Michigan. I pray for him. And he's up in Detroit with a company called UWM, learning how mortgages can help him create more real estate and mortgage transactions. So he's not with us today, but Patrick is casting a broader net by working with employers and membership groups to help them. It's a key vertical, what we do, go big or go home. He's the go big or go home guy. And he's trained thousands of agents on how to find mid to small size business and business groups and organization and help them provide what we call real estate and mortgage benefit programs. So, Patrick, again, we say hello this morning. And as we get started, Patrick, I got a question for you.
Ooh,
Uh, what
hope it's
what
not
is
a
a
tough.
what is a good five-step path for realtors to embrace AI? And let's talk about that for how important it is.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're going to go through the 5 steps here. And the first step is, first of all, identify the fact that there even is something called AI. Skip, harken back to the days when the internet was new. I was
Yeah,
in the real estate business and I had been in the real estate business for quite some time. And I was not an early adopter. I'm not Mr. Technology like yourself. I use it way more than I ever thought I would. But this was the interesting part. When the internet first came out, I remember people coming around to our branch offices talking about how the internet's going to change the business and website domains and all of these things. And my head spun and I had no clue if or how I was ever going to use that. Well, we fast forward to today, and that's all we do is use the internet. In fact, we are
right.
talking to each other via the internet. I checked my emails this morning, as I do every morning, via the internet. I check out anything that's going on in my local market via the internet. So, what was a daunting concept initially has now become mainstream. And AI, I believe, for many people is the exact same thing. We hear about all of these different tools, some of which we're going to talk about today. And oh my gosh, how could I possibly get my head wrapped around this? So today's podcast is literally a 5 step approach for somebody that maybe has no AI experience whatsoever, just to understand what the applications are. And then, secondly, how to get your toe in the water to test it out and start working with it. So, the first step of the 5 step process is to identify your biggest time drains. And Skip, I know one of them you and I talked about just this morning is writing content. So, whether it's a listing description, perhaps it's an
Hmm.
email template, or in our case, developing websites or blog posts, or even the agendas for the podcasts that we shoot on video every single week. AI plays a vital role in those things, and it saves countless hours. I've got to tell you, folks that are here on this podcast with us and that are watching the recordings, you'd be amazed how much time we spend doing stuff over and over again, repeatedly, that we have to think about. And if you're not a genius Steven Spielberg or a writer or whomever, it's going to take some time to craft the proper things. Well, AI can knock it out in a matter of seconds. So, for example, writing listing descriptions, Skip, you mentioned that. I'll add anything that you have to write. Plug it into AI and give it a shot. One, you'll begin to use the tool and you'll say, oh, this is actually kind of fun and this is easy. And all of a sudden, the growth process begins. Your toe has officially been dipped. Email content, it's important to have the right quality emails. And we'll talk a little bit more about using templates so that you don't have to come up with the same thing over and over again, or even creating non templated documents. Case in point, I was working on a transaction not too long ago and we needed an escrow agreement. We had to close the transaction, keeping some monies aside in escrow. There were 2 attorneys involved in this transaction. Neither one of them wanted to draft the escrow agreement. So I went to my handy dandy AI tool and I asked it very specifically to draft an escrow agreement with this property address, these parties to the transaction. And in a matter of seconds, it spit out an amazing agreement, which I sent to both attorneys saying, well, can we work with something like this? And I know their jaws dropped because they themselves would have probably charged $500 to draft that document. Other things that we can use,
And in four
yeah,
days,
if,
Patrick, and
if
in
we're
4 days.
lucky,
Yeah.
if we were lucky in 4 days. Following up with cold leads. Now, at the 5 year career, we generate a lot of leads, as Skip pointed out, oftentimes through our patented home buyer or home investor or other webinar types. And you can easily get 1,500, 2,000 leads in the course of a year. And those are wasted if we don't follow up with them on a consistent basis. Well, newsletters, inviting them to join you on your YouTube channels are all great, but staying in touch on a regular basis, doing that drip campaign is vital. Ladies and gentlemen, in today's universe, AI in accompaniment with your CRM, your customer relationship management tool, will do all of this for you. And that is super important to scaling your business. Posting on social media, Skip, that's another one. You talk about it all the time, getting out there and making sure that your audience in your groups, in your personal spheres, know what you're doing on a regular basis, AI can help you do that as well, whether it's automating the process, and we'll talk about some of the systems that are in place, or just using a simple AI to craft the actual content itself. And then last but not least, responding to the same client questions. Now, I'm going to end this segment, which is step one of the 5-step process. I manage a lot of offers. One of the specialties, my 500 specialties, is I work on distressed assets. I run a brokerage that handles short sale transactions. And one of the things that we do is we review offers that come in. Now, I started the first process of automating this by creating an email template. It's a 15-point thing. Hey, we received your offer. In order to proceed, we need the following. It's the same stuff over and over and over again. The name is wrong. The address is wrong. This is wrong. That, whatever. And I can simply go through there and pluck out the parts that don't apply and plug in the parts that do. And it saves me countless hours. Well, I'm envisioning a day not too far in the future where AI will actually review those documents for me, will draft the template for me, and all I have to do is review it and make sure it's right and click send, and off it goes. Automatically, we're saving probably 10, 15 hours a week just dealing with that one topic. So these are some real prime areas for you to consider using AI to help you in your daily life. So Skip, back to you for step two.
Well, step two, before we talk about step two, I want to talk about the danger of step two. I think one of the biggest challenges I've had in my life in my younger years was trying to master too much, learn too much, learn all the time, and leave out the most important thing, which we talked about earlier, hard work and taking action. So for this segment, I'm going to give you some names of companies. I'm going to tell you how they relate to what they do. But my biggest statement here is don't try everything at once. One tool, master one tool, one workflow, and then move to the next. By the way, you may never use all four of those
Yeah.
tools,
Yep.
but master one. You've got to take action, and reminding you of those three things. Patrick, you just came up with reinforcement for what I said about systems. If you have systems and they are functional systems at work, it saves you a lot of time, so you can spend more time creating activity, doing the things that really make money in the real estate industry. So, number one, for content writing, I have a very creative mind, but I had a bad English teacher. And so the truth of the matter is, here's what's happened to me in the past 11 months since I embraced Chat GPT. Now I have Chat GPT Plus because there is a difference. It costs me $20 a month to take my complicated English grammar and convert it into a language that people understand. And it's improved the quality of everything I send out to people. It's taking me from one level of communication to a polished level of communication. So, number one, my favorite tool, the one that I have begun to master, and you never master Chat GPT, but you get better at using it on a daily basis, is Chat GPT. Another one for content writing. If you're doing a blog, if you're sending out an email to somebody, if you have a team and you want to convey a good message to them, another tool that you can use is Jasper. Jasper, I have not personally used it. I love Chat GPT. It does a really great job for me. But if you're going to use it, I recommend spending the $20 for the Plus system because I tried both. The results from the Plus are significantly greater. And if you have a complicated problem with the Plus system, they give you a limited number of what they call deep research searches, which mean that you can really dig deep into a topic so that you know everything about it in a very short time. And what I love about these tools, it's a matter of seconds that you'll get an answer to a question. So Chat GPT and Jasper. There's another one called Copy. I haven't used that either. I tend to find things that work effectively, and use them over and over again. Second area where you need to master AI is in the area of lead follow-up. I said earlier, 80% of all leads are never followed up sufficiently by the person who creates the lead. Somebody makes money off of that transaction, but it's not the person who created the lead. And the reason is lack of proper follow-up. I'm going to give you one company, actually two companies, that if you go there and you want to develop a quality lead follow-up system, the name of the company is called Structurally. The other one is Ylopo, which is Ylopo. And the Y is probably silent. What is it, Patrick? Because
I think Elopo is close
yeah,
enough.
it's close enough for this podcast. But the truth of the matter is, if you want to develop a lead follow-up system that sends automatic emails, that nurtures the client throughout the process, when, a lot of leads that come in from our webinar series, which is a massive lead generation tool, and the reason why we're successful is that some of those leads are immediate leads. My first presentation that I did here in Pensacola, Florida, I had three people attend that webinar within 60 days. Two of those three actually bought a property, and they were nurtured by our lead generation system built into our 5-year career webinar program. But the third thing that we all must master, whether we like it or not, and we can get overwhelmed by, is social media automation. There are companies out there that, a number of great companies out there, but the one that I'm spending a lot of time with today is a company called Lately, Lately. And that is a company that is one of the many companies that offer tools so that when you send out an original message on social media, if somebody responds to it, these tools will actually do the further responses, build the relationship with that person, and help you build that relationship sufficiently so that person eventually reach out to you and ask you to help them. Finally, the last is website engagement. I think everybody I know has one or two websites that nobody ever goes to. True or not, Patrick?
100%.
We have an awesome website. Nobody goes to it until we start to build a relationship around it. So there are a couple of companies that I would recommend that engage and support people and send them automatically to your website through a process. They have live chat. They have a chat bot built into these platforms. And live chat is not a real person. It is a person that appears to be a person that's responding to messages, and so those companies are called Tidio, Tidio, and ManyChat. Those are two places you can go to begin. If your website has no transaction activity, then these are places that will do it. But I want to close this section by just reiterating a very significant point. You can learn, and burn if you're not engaging with people. So take a task, learn one part of it, move on to the second, and be active. Patrick, what about the next process, step
Yeah.
number
Well,
3?
a couple things. First of all, you really hit on a very important point, and the secret to success in real estate is not AI, it's not websites, it's nothing other than engaging with customers. Now, all of those things are
Mm-hmm.
tools to help us get there. And we hear the phrase all the time, if you learn more about how to do things, you'll become a better realtor. Well, maybe because they're going on the premise that knowledge is power. And I disagree with that statement. I believe that knowledge is potential power. It's
Yep.
the application of knowledge, the use of it to pass through the portal of the veil of I'm only sitting by myself to I'm communicating with potential customers on a regular basis that creates the power. The other thing, Skip, you mentioned a number of different applications, some of which we use, some of which we don't. We're going to give you at the very end of this webinar a number you can text if you want to get a list of all of these things as our free giveaway today. But the other thing I'd recommend is engage in these companies via demos. You don't need to research so much stuff on your own. If you're part of a team and they're utilizing some of these tools, find out how well they're working for them. Not everybody's getting 100% bang for their buck out of the tool. So, ask around. But secondly, every one of these companies reach out and contact sales support. They'll conduct a demo for you. You can see exactly what this tool does. And that, by the way, can open your mind to a whole new world. As you see things in practice. And Skip, I know early on with Chat GPT, we were playing around with it on a meeting and we were kind of mind blown, right? That how quickly it spit out content. I mean, just that one little piece is tantamount to what we experience here. But part three of the 5-step process is to automate one thing that you're doing in your real estate business, and then therefore utilizing one aspect of AI. And you also mentioned something important, Skip. They don't all cost money. In fact, many of these AI tools are available at no charge with
Hmm.
certain limitations. If you want to create videos, by the way, there's wonderful video AI platforms that you can plug in some content. If you've used Chat GPT to type up a script, you plug the script into another AI and it'll shoot out a video for you that's pretty damn good compared to what we would have produced ourselves, if ever, by the way, or how even it was coming out a year ago. So, it's an exciting new time to get involved. But what can you automate? Well, you can auto write your listing descriptions. Now, for those of you that aren't taking a lot of listings, you may not want to pick that one because you'll use it once and that'll be the end of it. If you're cranking out a ton of listings, then that's a great one to select. Creating Facebook messages or using a messenger bot for buyer questions. Now, we do run our home buyer webinars and we advertise those with our realtor partners using Facebook Marketplace and Facebook ads. Now, when somebody responds to one of those ads, they go to a CRM, they input their information into the form, name, phone number, email address, and nothing happens unless your CRM is on a funnel and a sales campaign, which ours is. The one that we use here at 5 Year Career has an automated funnel. But now think about layering that with interactive AI communication. So when somebody maybe after they've clicked the insert information here, got a question? Click this button. And now they can interact with the AI. And folks, that's mind numbing because if you've got hundreds of people clicking on that button, you don't have time or the energy to deal with all of those conversations yourself. But that AI very quickly understands the parameters of your business and the culture of your company and will become your best partner. You can use an AI assistant to follow up with online leads via text. Now, Skip, you and I are big texters from way back when, but the younger generation almost exclusively communicates via text. I say younger, probably people under the age of 50, but anyway, communicate via text on a regular basis. And the best numbers I've heard, if you will, is 80% of people will respond to a text that they receive unless they know it's spam or something. But as far
Right.
as emails, that number goes way, way down. And the emails get buried under all the junk emails that we get on a regular basis. Now, in order to get that text to work, you need an A2P number. And we talked about that one of our previous webinars. If you'd like more information on that, we can help you get it set up. We've got a partner, part of our team that sets up A2P numbers for real estate and mortgage professionals. And that allows you to send and receive text messages, SMS, in a compliant manner that's compliant with the FCC. I'll give you one though. And if you really want to start basically, create a marketing newsletter. Now, everybody says, whoa, hold on. And by the way, I am the biggest anti-newsletter guy. And the reason why is throughout my nearly 40 years in the business, either personally creating newsletters or for companies that I was part of that we were developing biz dev, that yes, let's do a newsletter. We'll send it out once a month. And after the third month, there's no more newsletter. Why? Because nobody wants to do the work to come up with the content or the systems to send it out. Well,
Amen.
ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the world of AI because you literally can just put a prompt in there. I need a newsletter for the month of March, and here's a few topics I wanted to talk about, and it will spit it out instantaneously for you. So no level of effort. Put it into your CRM, and you've now got yourself a working newsletter that can provide viable information, whether it's on local markets that you're working in, real estate types if you're dealing with foreclosures, or as Skip mentioned, affinity marketing. You might even have a corporate client such as a hospital that you're providing real estate services for. They would love to see your face and newsletter with pertinent information about their market. So you can also then wrap in your home buyer webinar invitations into that same thing. So now you're getting double the bang for your buck. Newsletter goes out, name recognition, branding, and also a call to action to invite them to come to your next home buyer webinar to generate more leads. And then once you've done that, track the results. Not everything works 100% all the time, but you'd be amazed at how efficient all of these things are. And it's the difference between not doing something at all to doing it exceptionally well. And that's a huge game changer, folks. So Skip, back to you.
Well, you said something several times in your conversation that is essential in why AI can help you, and that's consistency. You know, that newsletter that you produce for 3 months, nobody remembers that newsletter in the fourth month if it isn't delivered. But if you deliver that same newsletter to the same community with content that is meaningful to the people who live in that community, eventually, believe it or not, you will pick up business from it. And it's that consistency and the speed and the efficiency of using AI that makes you want to produce it each month. Without that, it is very time consuming. So those are excellent points. So okay, I'm back to where I was before. How do you learn all this stuff? I'm not the spring chicken that I once was. So how do you learn to use AI without going through a feeling of overwhelm? So here's how you learn it. Number one, pick one, not four of the ideas that we gave you today. And my suggestion is find the one that creates the greatest amount of leads, repeating several thousand times. Number one, hard work. Number two, systems. And that's what AI is, a system. And number three, find something that generates leads, because you could take the worst real estate agent in the world, almost the worst in the world. If you gave him enough leads, he would learn to become better. He would blow a lot of those leads. But don't worry about that, because the big problem that I see in real estate forever is that people don't do anything until they learn everything. So learn as you go, not before you start. That's a key ingredient. So how do you learn about AI? I'm going to give you 3 ways that I learn about everything that I do. Way number one is shut off your phone before a podcast. Uh, but here's the easy way to learn about anything. Watch YouTube tutorials on the tool that you're using. The company that produces them produces quality tutorials, but you can also find third-party people that will save you money. Some will tell you don't use that tool because they've had bad experiences, but watch YouTube tutorials on the tool you've decided to master. Number two, join Realtor Facebook groups discussing AI. And if you can find a group on a tool that you're using, join that Facebook group as well. We have a Facebook group again. It's called at 5-Year Career, the symbol at 5-Year Career. If you want to learn more about all of the creative ways we're helping people develop quality leads that convert, then you're going to want to join our YouTube channel. And finally, follow thought leaders in AI. I'm going to give you two, Katie Lance and Chelsea Peltz, Pelts. Those are two people that have large followings on YouTube, and people that have quality information that you can learn from on how to further master AI. So Patrick, what's step number 5?
Yep. And in fact, that was Chelsea Peitz, Peitz, but we'll give you a copy of this if you text us in a little bit.
Hey, well, my eyeglasses need to be improved.
Yeah, but to Skip's point, I mean, if you go to YouTube and just plug in AI plus real estate, or even Google that. Remember Google? Remember that? Remember that?
Yeah,
Google?
yeah. I haven't used
Google.
Google ever since I found ChatGPT.
It's amazing, isn't it? Well, so the last step then is after we've gone full circle and we've mastered the one, now it's time to stack and scale. So again, I harken back to the days of the internet, and again, I was working out of file boxes and landline telephones, and I started using email, of course, because it became pertinent to everybody. And then you begin to develop things. Then you have websites, and you've got all kinds of CRMs and whatever. It builds, it stacks. So utilize that same strategy with AI. As you've learned how to incorporate it into your business, well, now you can incorporate the next one probably 10 times faster than the first one. The first one is I don't know anything about what I'm looking at, so I'm an incompetent, unconscious incompetent. Then I become the conscious incompetent. Now I know what it is that I don't know. And then we move over to the competent phase where we're the conscious competent, where we kind of know what we're doing, but then the freedom comes when we're the unconscious competent and things just flow automatically. Well, the same is true with any new skill that we're learning. But once you're comfortable with your AI tool, and I'm going to come back to that word, comfortable is a very potentially dangerous word. Skip, you talked about it a little bit earlier, learning everything before you start. Well, once you're comfortable, you can then create content at scale. You can become the content master of disaster and provide value to your audience, whomever that may be, on a regular basis at a moment's notice. Automating lead nurturing and appointment setting, probably the most valuable thing that can happen. If you see your calendar filling up with opportunities, it is a game changer, folks. I mean, I feel blessed in my career. Every single day I check my email and I go into my system of record here. I've got new files to work on. So I don't wake up in the morning wondering where I'm going to get my next deal from. I've got three of them sitting in my inbox ready to go. That's exciting, folks. That changes your whole attitude towards the real estate business. And when you can share those leads with guys like Skip and John and Eric, even better yet. And then using AI to analyze market trends or client data. Now, it's funny because this one's going to become near and dear to my heart. As Skip may have mentioned, I sold my home in Fort Lauderdale on June 7th. We closed and we moved out. I'm up now in St. Augustine temporarily, hanging out with a dear friend. And ultimately, I'm going to be settling in Panama City Beach at a community called Latitude at Margaritaville. Well, that's new construction. It's going to be new construction for as long as I'll be alive. And I plan to incorporate that into my real estate business. In fact, it's going to be my landing path towards retirement because new construction sales, folks, are some of the easiest sales you can make, and you can build a great pipeline. But what I'm going to use AI for, in addition to the sales team there at Margaritaville, is to source where the majority of home buyers are going to be coming from, that market data. And then I will use AI to market to those same people via things like home buyer webinars, or the new one that we're launching, which is right size, relax, and retire for seniors. All of these tools, folks, can be part of your toolkit as well. We encourage you to work with us. But the magic word in what I just talked about, and I'll end this segment, is the word comfortable. If you wait until you're comfortable to start, you'll never start. And that is why 87% of all people that get into this real estate business fail and end up getting back out again. Starting anything new creates a level of discomfort. You should embrace that feeling. In fact, Skip uses a term, if you feel butterflies in your stomach, get them to fly in formation and use them to your advantage. And that's so true, even with discomfort, because discomfort then causes procrastination. Oh, I just learned about this new thing. It sounds great. Let me do it tomorrow. And then procrastination results in guilt. And so all of these negative feelings and self-doubt and then beating ourselves up, just start using it like a physical workout routine. You don't start off looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger or whomever your body person of choice is. The first days are painful. You wake up sore the next morning. You don't have to be perfect. It's the consistency. Skip, you said it. If there's any theme to this podcast today, it's be consistent. Do things in baby steps. Walk before you run. All of those sayings have value. So don't wait until you're fully comfortable. But once you start to master these tools, off you go. And I'm going to turn it back to Skip. But folks, you're not in this alone. We've got a team here that can help you through anything that you need. So, Skip, why don't you take us home on this?
Yeah, well, you said a couple of things, Patrick, that kind of reminded me of why our team has decided to do this podcast. But we have all specialized in our long real estate career on niches. niches are where real wealth comes in real estate. And the niche that we're going to emphasize over the next 6 months is new construction. I got to tell you a short, quick, right to the point story. I got an email from Lennar Homes the other day, and the email said, if you sell a house, if you bring us a buyer and we close on that transaction in the month of July, we're going to pay you a 3% commission. We bought down the interest rate to 3.99%. We're paying all of the buyer's closing costs, and if it closes before July 31st, we will pay you a $10,000 bonus. Now, what
Wow.
does that tell you, Patrick, about Lennar's situation?
It sounds like they've got some inventory that they want to liquidate quickly and they want to monetize and get their coffers refilled with cash to reinvest again.
Right. And 80% to 85% of all real estate sales for all new construction comes from real estate agents who show new construction to their buyers.
Mhm.
So over the next couple of months, we are going to really focus on our new home buyer presentation on new construction. And so if you really want to master leads, if you want to increase your production, everything about increasing your production is stimulated by massive leads. And we're going to be talking about that for just a few minutes before we close. But in ending our conversation today about AI, I just want to read something too. If you're not using AI yet, pick one tool this week. Pick something. Start the process of learning. Try it, test it, get comfortable with it. You don't need to master everything. You just need to start. And that's the big challenge for every real estate agent I've ever coached. They have to learn everything before they do anything. And that is the formula for failure. The formula, I read this every morning. Corny, but I read it every day before I sit down at my desk. The secret to success is the willingness to fail. I like to fail. I fail big often, and sticks and stones may break my bones, but no will never hurt me. So the reality is master AI and just follow that formula of failing as you do it. So, Patrick, as we end today's presentation, we want to invite everyone on this call to our next webinar. We're going to have two webinars in the month of July, and Patrick's going to put up an invitation that even if you don't know how to use a URL, you can just simply click on the QR code there, and you will be invited to attend our next webinar. The two dates in July are July 8th and July 22. And if you're a real estate agent or a mortgage professional or a title professional, and you want to create leads, because we all fit together, folks, we can't do one without the other. We urge you to join us for our next first time homebuyer focused on new construction podcast. And with that, I want to see if you have any comments about our new construction webinar. Patrick, do you have
Yeah,
any
well,
comments?
no comments. However, I do want to share with the audience that if they'd like a copy of this particular webinar or podcast, rather, they can go to our YouTube channel. Or if you'd like the transcript of it, simply text the word 5-step path. That's the number 5-step path to 561-861-2366. I'll repeat that one more time. Text the word 5, the number 5-step path to 561-861-2366. And yes, Skip, regarding the webinars, I've been on virtually all of them and they generate 30, 40 registered leads every single time. So it's a no-brainer for folks that want to work that particular segment of the marketplace.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for Patrick. First and foremost, thanks for your input today. It was
Oh,
awesome. Every time we get together, I'm amazed by the knowledge that I always take notes on our own webinars.
me too.
And you can never learn enough. Just remember to learn at a pace that keeps you active in the real estate industry while you're learning. So thank you so much for joining us on today's 5-Year Real Estate Podcast. Our hope is you enjoyed today's episode. If you like what you heard, don't forget to rate us, subscribe, and leave a review. Feedback is everything in business, and we want to know what you think. It means the world to us. More importantly, stay tuned for more exciting and upcoming episodes. You can follow us on YouTube again for our what do they call those bloopers, things that we do wrong, and finally and
Every
foremost,
podcast is a blooper.
yeah, every so often. And remember, don't just listen, use this information. Over the years, I've learned a lot and use the little to create billion-dollar companies. It's always you win in the niches, you win by action, you win by systems. You understand that leads are the lifeblood. In our webinar program, our 5-year career podcast will teach you how to become a very successful agent. And we thank you for being with us today. And the QR code that Patrick put up on the screen a few minutes ago is your invite to learn how to create massive leads from our 5-year career webinars. So thanks for being with us. Until next time, take care and happy listening, and more importantly, happy action.